All right, I think we're okay on the audio and everything checks out. Kind of jumping into the stream because as things have gone on this afternoon and evening, there is a supercell that has actually produced a tornado earlier within, I think, the last hour, hour and a half in the 6 o'clock hour time frame near Bridgewater, South Dakota. That supercell has had some cell mergers. You can see here on this 2-hour loop. Yeah, it looks like it was just northeast of Bridgewater, South Dakota, south of I-90. That storm has gone through some different cell mergers. It's kind of reorganized a new area of circulation there. Possibly just produced another tornado just based visually, just on the look of it a couple minutes ago. This is a pretty nasty hook signature. It went tornado warned again. You can see above me, this is a South Dakota DOT camera, and that is a beefy wall cloud on this. Unfortunately, this is one of those states in South Dakota that only takes pictures, I don't know, every 10 or 20 minutes. So it's not a live image. This was out of 7:03, so about a half hour ago in the central time zone. But, and that would have been, let's see. Yeah, that would have been around this time, looking from I-90 to the west, somewhere, basically somewhere straight east, looking towards this area of circulation. So that's your wall cloud right there, and then your hail shaft and the core of the storm off to the right of that camera. So a pretty detailed image there of a well-structured supercell. The one good thing is this is not moving particularly fast. It's moving at about 15 miles an hour. It also has had a few different cell mergers that have slowed it down a little bit. It's still in the area south and west of I-90. And let me get a new measurement on how far it is west of Sioux Falls. The concerning part a little bit is this is the Sioux Falls metro, and it's generally lifting towards especially the northern and western sides of Sioux Falls, so we'll keep an eye on this. But that area of circulation from the Sioux Falls airport is roughly about 18 miles to the west, almost due west of the Sioux Falls International Airport, National Airport. I don't know which one, but yeah. And actually, that's the radar site as well. So, yeah, about 18 miles, getting a pretty good reading on this. It has cycled a few times. It's now slightly broader than it was a few minutes ago. Although it looks like it's trying to kind of re-tighten up. Again, it's gone through some different cell mergers and things. At the very least, it's going to be a damaging wind threat as well as a larger hail threat. We're also watching some new supercells that have gone up south and southwest of Sioux Falls. This one had a little bit of rotation earlier near Spring Valley. Looks like it's backed off a little bit. Yeah, it tried to kind of form a little hook just a few minutes ago. And about 7:23, about 10 minutes ago, it was looking like this storm was ramping up pretty good. It's gone through a couple different phases. It may also have a little bit too much cell interaction on the meso there for a developing supercell, but we'll keep an eye on that one too. That's Spring Valley up to Hooker. Tornado possible, severe thunderstorm warning south of Sioux Falls. Keep an eye on that one if you're in the Worthing area. West of 29 and basically along Highway 19, South Dakota Highway 19. So that's why we've jumped on the stream a little bit early, just because we have a couple different supercells approaching some decently populated areas in the Sioux Falls metro. So yeah, that's a look at those. If the one supercell west of Sioux Falls kind of stalls out or has more cell interaction, that might not make it all the way to Sioux Falls, but I'd be a little bit more concerned with that cell that is developing to the south and west of Sioux Falls, now severe warned tornado possible tag. That one may work its way up to at least the south and west suburbs of Sioux Falls around T, Worthing, and zooming in here, Harrisburg, and those areas along 29 by Prairie Green Golf Course, kind of those southern neighborhoods of the Sioux Falls metro. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Hey, Addie. Hi, Stones. How's it going today? Yeah, Addie, you guys had some storms earlier. We almost jumped onto a stream, but then they died off fairly quickly. Otherwise, we would have probably streamed those. It was kind of a remnant cluster of storms. The good news is that has faded rather quickly into the evening. But yeah, there was even a little bit of a small severe thunderstorm watch covered parts of southern Missouri this afternoon. This is going back to about 4 o'clock, and I believe that's Poplar Bluff right there. The tornado warning stayed west of Poplar Bluff. That was the other reason why we didn't really get on the stream. But yeah, that area west of Poplar Bluff towards Stringtown, Beaver Dam, Lone Hill, there was a decent signature at times. This area is a little bit of a radar hole, but yeah. And then as those storms sagged south, they did kind of fizzle. Another tornado warning there east of Doniphan, Missouri. That same cell kind of rode west of Poplar Bluff towards the Neelyville area. This was earlier. This is not a live radar. But you can see as those that cluster storms was a little bit more organized north of Highway 60, and then it kind of started to break up as it worked into the evening hours. The remnant of that, there's still a couple storms out here, mostly into the areas west of Nashville. There's also quite a bit of storms across the southeast, so we may get a severe warning or two out of those. There was a couple severe warnings also in eastern parts of Arkansas. Earlier, there was a one around Little Rock, but it looks like that has diminished some. So we'll keep an eye. There may be some isolated storms in that area. Hey, electric tornado storms, how's it going tonight? And then we're still keeping an eye, other than the South Dakota area, we are still keeping an eye on this slight risk. The Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk out, eastern Kansas, western, and now pushed into central parts of Missouri. It's going to be an interesting evening to see if anything develops. There's a bit of a conditional risk for an all hazards threat. The best chance of an all hazards threat is going to be early in the development of any storms. Right now it's kind of blank in this area, but yeah, there's your slight risk. There is a low end tornado risk from about the Kansas City area, I-70, down to areas around Winfield, Sedan, Fredonia, then back across areas just north of the Springfield Metro to about Jefferson City. The wind risk there, a wind risk basically covering that slight risk area. And then hail, there could be some large hail, especially just along and east of I-35, especially if those storms initiate as discrete supercells, potentially, and then work towards the east, northeast. And we may get a couple rounds of storms in this area. The Storm Prediction Center does have a mesoscale discussion out for this area. Wichita, Winfield, Independence, Erie, Fredonia, up into the Kansas City area, and also west towards Manhattan and Topeka. They are keeping an eye on a watch issuance and about an 80% chance of a watch being issued in the next hour or so. There was a mesoscale discussion earlier for parts of the dry line down here in Oklahoma. Looks like not a mesoscale discussion anymore, so they may not be expecting the dry line to fire. There are a couple showers west of Oklahoma City. We'll keep an eye on any of those developing. The dry line has fired further south in Texas. There's a bit of a cluster of storms in the Texas Panhandle. Some severe warnings there up to areas around Crowell, Texas. Yeah, Colorado's good for now. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting day for eastern Colorado. This is a look at the slight risk tomorrow for eastern Colorado. And I wouldn't be surprised if they put at least a slight risk in for areas back towards Addy. Addy, you're going to have to keep an eye on storms tomorrow morning. Whatever develops in the Kansas area tonight is actually going to work as another cluster of storms, basically kind of out of the Kansas area and then turning into the Mississippi Valley and heading south and east in the morning hours. So there actually may be severe storms in the morning across areas like Paducah, back towards Poplar Bluff, and even down towards the Memphis area, pushing into northern Mississippi and possibly northern Alabama by
a new tornado
afternoon.
has been issued.
Let's see here. Let me get a couple things cleared off the screen. Clear off those mesoscale discussions right now. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some upgrades. Maybe the 8 o'clock upgrade, but probably the day one. It looks like just based on the pattern of the Storm Prediction Center this year, they've made usually the biggest changes on the day one upgrade, which comes out at like 1 a.m. Central Time. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some of this area upgraded to a slight risk. Probably like this corridor right in here. All right. Yeah, it's a new tornado warning for that same storm in South Dakota. Let's zoom back in, take off the MRMS, Minnehaha and McCook counties, east central McCook, west central Minnehaha in South Dakota. It is a severe storm capable of producing a tornado located near the Lake Vermilion State Rec area, moving east at 15. Yeah, that's the one good thing. If you're in the Sioux Falls metro or have any family in the Sioux Falls metro, it's moving at about 15 miles an hour. Again, above me there, that's the wall cloud in this shot from earlier. Right in there, you can see a pretty beefy, actually organized wall cloud. This was when it was at its peak earlier. Doesn't look like it was on the ground. There's something going on back in there too, though. Don't think it was on the ground, but yeah, pretty stout low wall cloud. And yeah, it does look like it's trying to organize a new area of rotation. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's getting a little bit tighter. Actually, kind of weirdly on the secondary hook. It's going through more cell interactions, so that's going to kind of create a little bit of a wrinkle in this storm. But there is, looks like, yeah, it's trying to organize again. Just near Rumpus Ridge, South Dakota, along Highway 18. I think that's that Lake Vermilion State Park area, so that checks out. And I wouldn't be surprised if it tries to reorganize a new area. That is very interesting. It's almost stationary. But we kind of have two little inflow regions here. And so far, that rear one is kind of winning out right now, but we'll see if it tries to surge out on that secondary one. It may try to surge out. Two areas of rotation potentially there. But that area that's most imminently tornadic right now is this area just to the east of Rumpus Ridge. Not appear to be on the ground based on correlation coefficient, but a dangerous storm, and again, it's slowly sinking towards Sioux Falls. I have another camera in the Sioux Falls metro. This is looking west. Can't quite see this wall cloud from this angle, but I mean, hopefully we don't, because this would be in downtown Sioux Falls kind of area, so hopefully we don't see it, but it is a pretty flat area. If we didn't have those trees and stuff, we may be able to actually see this storm a little better. But you can see right now, okay in Sioux Falls, you're not under a tornado warning, but it's just something to keep our eye on if you're in the Sioux Falls metro. And then still seeing the organized rotation starting to pick up between Spring Valley and Hooker, South Dakota. This is a severe thunderstorm, tornado possible severe thunderstorm for western Lincoln and southeastern Turner counties. That's only moving at about 15 miles an hour, but it's moving towards the northeast, towards those southern and western suburbs of the Sioux Falls metro. So we'll keep an eye on both of those storms. Two pretty dangerous storms. Between them, there's just kind of a general severe thunderstorm, although that has a little bit of spin on it now too. Not as much, but we'll keep an eye on this kind of cluster between the two more supercellular storms. And those are kind of new storms that have gone up south of this. Oh boy. I don't like the look of this. It hasn't updated yet on the velocity scan, but that kind of tornado warned area of rotation near Rumpus Ridge is probably going to be the loser of those two areas of circulation. This looks like it's starting to, at least on the reflectivity, present a well-structured supercell again. and it's kind of reaching out this little stinger. The mesocyclone likes to be away from the cooler, rain-cooled air of the hail core, so anytime you see this kind of surge out like this is a little bit of an RFD surge. It tends to focus in that inflow region. Sometimes you'll see this organize on reflectivity first, and then you'll see the velocity increase on the subsequent scans. So we may start to see that. And yeah, every time this thing kind of cycles, that's the thing to keep our eye on, is it kind of cycles a little bit closer to Sioux Falls. So when we started the stream, like 18 miles away. That new area of rotation would be about 16 miles away. So it's going to jump ahead a little bit, which is a dangerous thing. If this was moving faster, this would be a big problem for Sioux Falls. No worries, electric. Let's see. What else we have? Yeah, Colorado, beautiful weather today. You guys are in good shape. At least tonight. We'll keep an eye on eastern Colorado tomorrow. Tomorrow could be one of those dual stream kind of days. We may have a stream morning and early afternoon that covers any mesoscale convective system across the Mississippi Valley. That should fade after it gets down into the southeast. It may have a residual storms, though, across Alabama. But as that kind of fades out, then we'll look back for new storms developing back in this area tomorrow afternoon and early evening. So we may have two streams, one in the morning and then one in the afternoon tomorrow. So if you're new here, like and subscribe, click that bell icon, get notified when we go live. Also check us out X and Facebook, and we post the streaming links there too. So let's see if this has cycled yet. 46. So we're still waiting on the next radar scan. Should be coming in just another minute or so, but I wouldn't be surprised if the velocity picks up on that cell, and they may try and reorient this warning a little bit further to the south and east. If I was at the Weather Service office, I'd probably issue a new warning just covering that new area of circulation. And speaking of new areas of circulation, here is the storm I was also going to check out near Hooker and Spring Valley. It's also getting a tornado warning. It's one that we've been following for the last couple minutes. Also, this is for Turner County, southeastern Turner County in South Dakota. That has definitely ramped up near Viborg. I feel like we've been in this same area before, and approaching areas around Hurley. A couple small communities out here along Highway 19. Yeah, just in the last few minutes, that area has started to tighten up. The circulation within this storm is actually moving a little more north, so that's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of pulling up into the storm, so it may not last very long, this circulation. The storm has struggled with some different cell mergers, and it looks like the latest cell merger is kind of pushing that meso back up into the rain-cooled hail core. So it's basically kind of forced occlusion. So that may be a short-lived area of circulation, but one that if you're in southeast Turner County, you definitely want to stay safe. And then kind of waiting to see what happens here. Let's check the Kansas City area. Not much going on around Kansas City yet. A little bit of a blip there. I'm just going to wait to see what it looks like on this little blip as the new radar scan comes around. You can see the new radar sweep there coming around the screen, and we'll see if this changes at all. No, still a blip. Okay. That's good. Sometimes you see blips and the next radar scan are much bigger, but that one's still a blip. Another one out there, looks like along 35. Keeping an eye on those. There's the dry line basically cutting across the Wichita metro, so the severe threat likely east of Wichita. And then keeping an eye on these showers out in western Oklahoma, Kingfisher, Watonga, Arapahoe. They haven't really done much in the last hour or so, but we'll keep an eye on those along the dry line. here's the latest HRRR model. Let me actually make sure it's actually the latest HRRR model. Okay, here's the latest HRRR model, focusing in on our slight risk area around Kansas City. If anything's going to develop, it looks like there may be some chances of development in the next hour or so around the Kansas City area. But then it does take those storms kind of to the south and east and really organizes them in the 10 o'clock hour. Every kind of model run, models have been a little weird on this area basically all day. They haven't really had a good sense of the development. It's been a bit of a conditional risk. And earlier this morning, it looked like it was going to be in that 4 to 7 o'clock window that things fired. The models have pretty consistently pushed this development back further. So that's been an interesting note. But some point, the expectation is we get storms to develop along a bit of a heating boundary along the Missouri River Valley and then also back towards the dry line. This model does bring some of those storms that are blips right now in Oklahoma into a little bit more of a organized environment there. So we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, this one brings storms later in the day, potentially 10 to 11 around the areas around Emporia, Kansas. I think some of the bigger storms may stay out of Kansas City still, but we'll have to watch Kansas City if anything kind of gets in that area. But I do think the best chance of a all hazards severe threat is still this area in eastern Kansas. Basically like Emporia, Fredonia, Iona, Yates Center, I think is in here. I have to zoom in pretty far to find it, but small community. Yeah, there's Yates Center. I think I said earlier on social media, if I was chasing today, I probably would have started around Yates Center. Although now this went from an evening development to more of a 10 or 11 p.m. kind of development. But I still think that area could be kind of target zone number 1 there for any all hazards threat. And then as it kind of continues to develop and push into western Missouri, we should get more of a cluster of storms. And that's going to race out to the south and east. So anything that develops in eastern Kansas by 6 a.m., pushing towards the St. Louis area. You can see kind of how messy this cluster is here. More storms developing out ahead of that. And that's where we may have a severe threat in the Mississippi River Valley by tomorrow morning. Farmington, Centerville, back towards Houston. And then that's going to push south and east down through the Mississippi River Valley. About 10 a.m., pushing into the I-40 corridor, Memphis, and potentially then reinvigorated, similar to today's storms, reinvigorated for severe risks into northern Mississippi, northern Alabama by about noon tomorrow. So yeah, we do have to watch that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they put a slight risk out for tomorrow for this area in the Mississippi River Valley. And then later on, we'll watch storms in Colorado tomorrow. Yeah, so Kansas City area, you may get one wave. This model tries to develop some storms south and east sides of Kansas City in the next hour or so. Probably not severe until, if that does develop, until they get a little bit further away from Kansas City. But then we'll have to watch more of these isolated storms developing 9, 10 o'clock, and then pushing towards potentially the south and west side of Kansas City with some general storms, potentially more of a wind threat across the I-70 corridor. But again, some of this is conditional still. And this is just one model run. This is the previous model run. It still kind of showed storms developing south of Kansas City first as kind of round 1, and then more storms back towards Emporia, with the strongest one still saying south of Kansas City, but some of that working into KC. And yeah, they all basically have shown more clustering as it works into central Missouri, and then more of a mesoscale convective system developing into the early morning hours and pushing south and east. Yeah, that's not a bad way to do it. I do think, yeah, it's a tricky forecast. I know I talked to Stones earlier too. Earlier, it looked like it was going to be maybe that 9 to 11 kind of thing, but Stones, you might have been right. It might be like 1 a.m. Round 2, it looks like might be stronger than round 1. If anything develops, it's still kind of a wait and see if anything really develops. And round 1 may not really develop at all, so you may have to wait for round 2, which is going to be, yeah, 10 to midnight kind of time frame at least. But I do think, again, it's a very conditional risk, but just based on everything, I do think this area south of KC, Yates Center, Emporia, Iona, Garnett, Kansas, Ottawa, back towards like Butler, Nevada, Missouri. That area, I think, has maybe a little bit more of a concentrated risk of severe weather. I think we still have some questions on severe weather here in KC. One of the question marks is the heating boundary. Where did that actually set up? So yeah, it's 90s and upper 80s into the southern parts of Kansas. It's about 82 across the KC area. So it appears like that heating boundary kind of roughly on this area. South of that boundary, I think there's a slightly better chance of severe weather. And that seems to be the boundary that a lot of the models kind of highlight as storms kind of riding this boundary. So let me mark that in a different color. But yeah, if anything develops out here, it's potentially going to ride along this boundary, and that's how it's going to turn towards the south and east, back across Missouri. But some storms may kind of cross that boundary, get up into Kansas City as well. Just a little bit less juice there. Okay. Let's wait to see this radar scan, see if anything develops more. No. Still staying blips across that area. Where we don't have blips right now is Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, still under not a tornado warning yet. This still is trying to reorganize. Okay, so we have gotten some new model data or some new radar data. It hasn't fully tightened that area of circulation. And now that area is actually kind of rain wrapped. You can see it started to surge out, started to develop a new meso, and then as it did, it's had more storm interactions. There is still a rotation in here. It's still a supercell. You can still see it kind of wrapped up right in there. That makes this whole situation a little bit more dangerous. It's going to be tucked up in the rain west of Sioux Falls along Highway 42, and not tornado warned right now. This part of the storm is not tornado warned. Looks like we have a severe thunderstorm warning. Okay,
a new
scratch
tornado
that.
Warning has been issued.
They are going to reissue a tornado warning for southwestern Minnehaha counties. Storm capable of producing a tornado over Wall Lake or 8 miles southeast of Lake Vermilion. And that's moving still east at about 15 miles an hour. So yeah, with every warning, we get a little bit closer to the Sioux Falls area. It's around the Pumpkin Center, South Dakota area. But yeah, as we get into the eastern part of this warning, we do start to get into some neighborhoods here. Country Acres, near the Wildwater Water Park, the Bachhoff subdivision, West Acres development, Lillian, South Dakota.
A new flash flood warning has been issued.
And then into some other neighborhoods closer to Sioux Falls. So basically this warning goes west of Highway 139, Lillian to Ellis. You need to take your tornado safety precautions. And let's get a track on this circulation just to track everything out. If it does hold together, Sioux Falls is still about an hour away from the tornadic part of this circulation, just because it is only moving at about 15 miles an hour. But if you're west of Sioux Falls, they're not actual cities. I'm surprised Ellis isn't showing. Yeah, they're probably more like neighborhoods than actual, designated places. That's why we're not picking up anything. But yeah, Ellis, about 39 minutes. Lillian, 39. So that 139 corridor in the western suburbs of Sioux Falls, about 39 minutes. Country Acres, 27. And the Wildwater Water Park, about 22 minutes away. And again, that was in the last hour. About an hour ago, you can see the beefy wall cloud on this shot from South Dakota DOT. A very squared off, very low to the ground wall cloud. It does not quite look like that anymore. This is going to be a rain wrap circulation, but it has tightened up. New radar scan coming in, so we'll wait and see that. Yeah, the weather apps are, I mean, that's probably a reliable app, Stones, so definitely keep it on your phone. I think it's just a really, really tricky forecast. So the models are having making adjustments, and ooh, that got tighter. You can see the radar scan. That's really helpful. That got tighter and brighter on the latest radar scan. Not good in the Country Estates subdivision. That's only, let's see, that's going to be, here's your circulation in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles to the Country Estates subdivision. If you're in that area, definitely need to take safety precautions immediately. This is likely tightening up a new circulation. It's at County Highway 159 and just south of State Highway 42 in South Dakota. It's going to be a rain-wrapped area of circulation. Nothing crazy on correlation coefficient, but we'll watch kind of this area. Bit of a CC lowering, but it may just be heavy rain, some hail wrap down in this kind of HP circulation now. Let's jump down to this other one. Okay, yeah. The other one was short-lived. It's gone through different cell mergers again. Really not tornadic at all right now. You can see it developed very quickly. It was ramping up. We kind of flagged it before it got tornado warned, and then it actually moved to the northwest. And unfortunately for them, a good call by the National Weather Service. Sometimes I'm critical of their warnings. This was a good warning. Unfortunately for them, as soon as it got warned, poof, it kind of disappeared. So a good warning, but unfortunately, by the time they issued it, it's basically broadened back out between Hooker and Spring Valley, south of Hurley. We'll keep an eye on it. It may try and retighten, reorganize a new area. Right now, it's kind of a messy cluster with some cell mergers going on. Potentially still some hail in there. Let's see. It's being warned for quarters. Yeah, quarters to half dollar size hail. Okay, my wife is not interested in seeing this South Dakota wall cloud picture. But pizza has arrived, so that's a bonus. All right, let's see. Oh boy. Yeah, it's tighter and brighter, potentially close to producing a tornado. And it's going to be a rain wrap mess. Let's see what we have here. Can we see it from 41st Street? Not quite. That's our best look at it. That is looking west at 41st Street. Let's see, that looks east. South Dakota is pretty rural, so they don't appear to have live cameras out on the interstates, but they do have some in Sioux Falls. Kind of co-produced by the city of Sioux Falls and South Dakota DOT. So thank you, Sioux Falls taxpayers. This is definitely uptrending. Again, a rain wrap circulation is going to be hard to see along Pumpkin Center, just east of Pumpkin Center along Highway 42. No, just like a hand toss local place. I could go for some Pizza Hut though at some point. Yeah, that one's staying broad. That one may try to reorganize too, just north of Hooker. Keep an eye on that. That cell continues to try. It's gone through a couple different cell mergers. We now do have a severe thunderstorm watch that covers these areas. So they've put that out because of the uptrending of those storms. There are, at least earlier, there was a number of storm chasers on this area. So if it does get back on the ground, we may get confirmation. The only problem is it is more rain wrap now. Okay, that's basically the watch area that you see there. Covers Sioux Falls down to Yankton, South Dakota. It does include Sioux City, Iowa, over into areas like Sioux Center, Rock Valley, Rock Rapids. That's in northwest Iowa. It also covers extreme southwestern Minnesota, Laverne, and Worthington. It goes till 1 a.m., so I guess they're expecting these storms to be around for a little while. A couple of tornadoes possible, scattered hail up to ping pong balls, and isolated gusts 70 mile an hour are possible. Yeah, we've seen more development across eastern parts of South Dakota. So that is going to be that warning there. There's other storm chasers down in Kansas. They reported a valiant effort at storms going up, but it just kind of fizzled right now. So yeah, that's right along the dry line. Okay, was this little cell. A little blip that tried, and it is now gone. This blip is trying. Cottonwood Falls, just south of Emporia. We'll keep an eye on that. It's a little bit in a sheared environment, but there is these storms are fighting a little bit of dry air. Which I forget we can actually see here. So yeah, it does get dry pretty quickly. 72 over 83 is decent. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. How do I close out of the sounding? Got it. Cool. So much data we can enjoy here on Aguacero weather. From live NexRad radar to high streaming MRMS to model data, all kinds of good stuff. Oh boy. Yeah, that is starting to tighten up pretty crazy right there in a very short amount of time. It's still rain wrapped, which is very interesting. That's not good. That looks like a CC drop. That looks like a tornado in progress. Likely there, just in the latest radar scan. That's going to go confirmed.
New
Yep.
information, this tornado warning has been upgraded.
Wow. They jumped at that one. That was almost an instant upgrade just as I saw it. So they're literally glued to the same data that we are. And as soon as that radar scan updated, they hit the button. They must have had that ready to go. Which, yeah, it doesn't take a rocket scientist here. You could see it was ramping up every consecutive radar scan. It was tighter and brighter, tighter and brighter, tighter and brighter. They must have had that button ready to go. And bam, it's still just sitting here. That is one concerning thing. Yeah, as we look at this area of rotation, let's go back and look at this area of rotation here. I have it circled. This is 7:56. About 20 minutes ago. Moved a little bit south, but then it really started to tighten up right there at 159, south of 42. Still there. Still there. Still there. And actually maybe a new little circulation developing there too. And yeah, it's right there. So yeah, this hasn't really moved much in the last 15 to 20 minutes. But there is a tornado on the ground there. That is a new observed tornado, the, I believe, second or third one for this storm. Don't think we can see it yet. So once again, Sioux Falls proper, you're okay for now. If you're in the Sioux Falls area, or if you know anyone in Sioux Falls, give them a text, give them a heads up, let them know there's a tornado producing storm to their west. Don't panic them, but tell them to turn on our stream. You can send our link, or they can turn into their local media that I'm sure is covering this as well. But just I would let them know if I had friends or family in this area. The good thing, again, it's not really moving that fast, but producing a tornado in progress there west of Sioux Falls along State Highway 42. And that is a rain-wrapped tornado. It's going to be very hard to see. And let's see, they observed this, I believe, just based on how quickly they confirmed it. Yeah, they had the button ready to go and clicked it as soon as we saw it too. So it's a radar-confirmed tornado located over Wall Lake, 9 miles southeast of Lake Vermilion, moving east at only 10 miles an hour. 10 is generous. That's a dangerous storm. Let's check our other storm. Has not really kind of reorganized. Still seeing a little bit of broad circulation around Hooker. But that's mostly a wind threat at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that one. Just had a little too much cell interactions. Another storm near Wakanda, South Dakota. That storm has gone up pretty quickly. Likely a bit of a hail threat there. You can see those purple colors. That's indicating some larger hail. Not much rotation on it. Yeah, there's hail in there for sure. Just near Wakanda and just to the east of there towards Colfax Center. See it on the ZDR as well as correlation coefficient. Some beefy hail. I would say probably at least quarters, probably more like $half size, 1.25 inch size hail likely there, just between Wakanda and Colfax Corner. Couple dangerous storms there. Yeah, right now the dry air is winning out. Seeing a little bit of a shower there near Prairie Highlands, but We'll see if anything can kind of fire along that boundary there. We do have some other severe storms. Let me just check and make sure everything's kind of behaving. There's actually storms in northern Alabama around Scottsboro, 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail. Another storm, Circe, in Arkansas, right along Highway 57, quarters and 60. And then there's that cluster also in Texas, West Texas, a storm there, severe around Crowell, Texas, and then south of Lubbock, quite a bit of severe storms, quarters and 60, quarters and 60. So mostly just wind and small hail. The other big factor there is a flash flood warning in that green box, flash flood warning there for, let's see, about 1.5 inches of rain already in a fairly semi-arid environment in West Texas. Oh, and there's also a dust storm advisory for Carlsbad and areas there in southeast parts of New Mexico. All right, 2 tornado warnings still in progress. The one is more concerning than the other. This one is fairly tame right now near Hooker. That expires in 10 minutes. I'm guessing they're just going to let that expire. The other area is a tornado that was in progress, almost stationary, but that appears to have lifted. Yeah, we maybe had it for 2 radar scans. CC lowered there a little bit, and then the next scan, we definitely had a tornado in progress. That's when it was observed. And on the latest scan, not really much there. And that also checks out with the velocity signature. That's when pretty sure there was going to be a tornado in progress on the next scan. There was. It's still kind of in there along Highway 159. And that has broadened back out. Yeah, that's the one we're on right now, Soupy Daisy. Soupsy Daisy. I think that's hopefully pronouncing that right. So still broad circulation in here. It's still west of the Sioux Falls area. And if there is a new tornado developing, it would be a rain-wrapped tornado. So it's still about 15, last I checked, about 15 miles to the south and west of Sioux Falls. Let's get a good measurement on it again. Yeah, about 15 and a half miles southwest of the Sioux Falls airport. This storm has cycled several times. It's a cyclic supercell. It's had, it's fought off cell interactions. Wow, it is nearly stationary. We'll see if some of this cell interaction gets it to shove to the east, which is not a good situation for Sioux Falls. If it does start to shove to the east, that's going to be an issue for some of those western suburbs of Sioux Falls. They have reissued a new warning there for some large hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds for that cell that was tornado warned. Looks like they're going to let that warning expire in about 5 to 7 minutes. And continue the warning for Lincoln and Turner counties in South Dakota for the ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. There's not a lot of hail in this storm. There's maybe a small pocket of larger hail in here. Just south of Naomi, South Dakota, west of Worthing. Yeah, Worthing. I do think this cell has been persistent enough. I do think it's going to fight off the latest cell interactions and probably try and spin up another circulation. Probably fairly close to where this this mesocyclone is essentially stationary still. Wow. Still can't really see it on that camera perspective, but yeah, that is looking to the west. Beyond the tornado threat, this latest kind of band of storms is also kind of surging out a little bit. Yeah, we may get a little bit more of a damaging wind risk across the areas in Sioux Falls as well, especially if that does start to surge towards the east. And then so far, so good on the hail. There is some larger hail in here, a couple pockets of hail in the core of this storm. This actually come down just a little bit. Yeah, the hail core has come down a little bit, so that's one good sign there. We are very close to the Sioux Falls radar here, so we're getting a low-level look at this. And yeah, this tornado just a few minutes ago was only about 900 feet off the radars, off the ground level from the radar, since we are about only 15 miles away. So that is a really low-level look at that earlier circulation just to the east-southeast of Pumpkin Center. But it is a little bit broad now. It's going to, if it does try and reorganize somewhere in this area, but you can see that green surge. Yeah, these are all winds that are surging out towards the radar in the green. So gusty, damaging winds potentially there, but for the next couple minutes, it may be a little bit less imminently tornadic. But certainly strong winds. They're approaching the Country Acres area around the water park. We called it a Wild Water West water park. And coming through the Country Estates subdivision right now, those are, again, damaging winds, not a tornado risk at the moment. It is a bit outflow dominant at the moment, and let's see if they've still observed this. They have not backed it down from the observed, but still just a radar indicated observed tornado, which we're not seeing the debris signature for at the moment. There it was pretty clearly there when it went observed. Checking this other storm. This is another supercell. It's now pushing north and east of Hooker. Yeah, hasn't reorganized that area of rotation yet. Tornado warning there expires in 3 minutes. Just let the tornado warning expire, and you can stay hunkered down in this area because it's still a pretty dangerous storm with some larger hail, damaging winds. It's going to be pushing up towards I-29 near the Worthing area, just south of T. That storm may stay south of Sioux Falls. Yeah, Stones, thanks for the support too. Trying to cover everybody. Let's see. Let's check back down here. That blip is struggling as it's approaching the Belton area. I think round one may be a little limited here based on the model data, or compared to the model data. And this storm still is starting to go up though, just south of Emporia, Kansas. That one's probably not headed for Kansas City, but again, areas like Garnett, Kansas, Burlington, Mound City. If this storm does continue to upscale, that would be the area, kind of the corridor that I'd watch for that storm. It's not severe yet, but one to watch. Let me see if I can even... Got cameras in that area, so we can probably get a camera on that. South of Emporia. Lightning there on our Sioux Falls camera. We'll have to wait till it gets a little bit east of the Emporia area for a good camera shot of that one. Also watching this cluster cells, some of the model data did upscale this into a couple isolated strong storms, but so far those are behaving themselves. Today is the unfortunate anniversary of the El Reno tornado that did a lot of damage and killed storm chasers back in 2013, and not just storm chasers, but tornado researchers in the El Reno area. So this area is probably a little bit storm weary today. Hopefully we can get through that area fairly dry without any big storms. Oh, they have warned that little cell south of Emporia. 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail, so basically the base severe thunderstorm warning. Sneeze. All right, yeah, so just base severe thunderstorm warning there. And then let's go back to Sioux Falls for that tornado risk.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
They are going to re-up the cells south and west of Worthing as a new tornado warning. It's trying to organize a new area of rotation. I think with the environment that we have today, it's probably a good call to warn this area, even though it hasn't quite tightened up. It's very, the wind risk has started to come up a little bit. We're seeing kind of a general broad area headed towards the radar, and we're seeing a lot of wind now headed out away from the radar. So it is trying to organize this area of rotation. It's not super localized yet, but it's attempting again. And you can see from the cell mergers it's had, it's cleared out its inflow region. It just needs to kind of surge the RFD and likely tighten up something. So that would be kind of right in this area. I'd look for it to tighten up. And it hasn't yet. You can also tell visually this this hook isn't very hooky. It's a very kind of sheer line. It's very vertical. Yeah, it's a bit of an interface between the RFD and the inflow region, but it hasn't really tightened yet. It doesn't have that spin yet on it, like we saw in the storm earlier, where it kind of hooked around. That, when it starts to do that, really tightens up that inflow. And we'll see, it may start to do that. Starting to see a little bit more on the outflow. Yeah, just on the latest scan, actually, it's starting to look a little bit better or more organized. This is another one that's also has a weird second appendage. We'll have to keep an eye on that one, see which inflow region kind of wins out. But tornado warning there, south of the Sioux Falls area, Lincoln and Turner counties in South Dakota. This other storm is still outflow dominant right now. You can see that big surge of green headed up towards the radar site. But yeah, it is making a little bit more of a push towards the Sioux Falls area. And right now, not imminently tornadic, but this little area right in here is where we're seeing the wind surge out. Kind of have to watch this area for it's trying to carve out a new inflow region. Hasn't done that successfully yet, but we'll keep an eye on that area. This will be just west of Sioux Falls along Highway 42, State Highway 42. I wouldn't be opposed to them adding a new tornado warning just to cover the Sioux Falls area pretty soon, just because this has been a cyclic supercell with a history of producing at least, I think, 2 or 3 tornadoes. Hey, Cruz, how's it going? Yeah, it's a pizza and storm night, apparently, so Definitely, it may be a long night. Hogpole. Maybe a long night in a couple different places, but yeah, this or severe thunderstorm watch goes until 1 a.m. across eastern South Dakota, extreme southwest Minnesota, and northwest Iowa. And then we're watching for storm development in our main severe weather region today in eastern Kansas. Storm has gone up. It's now being warned for quarters to half dollar size hail, and it's south of Emporia, Kansas, along Highway I-35. So watching that one. It's going to essentially head towards Neosho Rapids, Hartford, Kansas. But watching for more developments that models have indicated across eastern Kansas that may affect the Kansas City area later today. And then across the south, there's also some storms. One severe warned storm still in northern parts of Alabama. And then the severe warned cell near Searcy, Arkansas just disappeared. Yeah, that storm's kind of fading. It's like this area in Arkansas should be rain cooled. I can see some boundaries from earlier storms. And yeah, that area around Little Rock should be a quiet evening for you guys. So right now, most of our storm coverage, we're pretty hyper local here to the Sioux Falls area with 2 tornado warned storms. They're both in the process of reorganizing. The southern one right now has not produced a tornado, at least from what we've seen, but it has been radar indicated tornado warned before. It's trying to establish a new inflow region. It's kind of struggling right now, but it is also producing some larger hail, up to about ping pong ball size hail in this area in Turner County, I believe that was. Turner and Lincoln counties. And then our other storm, not as organized as it was earlier, but this has gone through a bunch of different cell mergers. Also kind of closing in on the radar site, so we're losing a little bit of definition since we're actually so close to the radar site now. But it was a little bit better organized earlier. This is when it was producing that tornado in progress a little bit ago. You can see it was still a pretty classic supercell hooking around in here, and that's where it was producing the tornado. Had a hail core. It is a little bit less organized right now, but it is starting to make that move towards the Sioux Falls metro area. And yeah, it has not retightened, but still watching this area around the West Acres development, Ellis. Tornado warning there continues another 8 minutes or so, and then we'll see what they kind of redo. I would guess they're probably going to push at least a severe thunderstorm warning and probably a tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning across the Sioux Falls area. So if you're in the Sioux Falls, plan to at least be in a sturdy structure away from windows. Be ready to kind of take tornado safety precautions if it starts to tighten up again. And yeah, if it does start to retighten a circulation, it would be in this area just to the south and west of the Sioux Falls metro. Around Ellis, Webster Grove Addition, Hayward Addition, some of these neighborhoods in here, Webster Grove, Hayward, Lillian, Ellis, and essentially those areas in Sioux Falls west of I-29. New radar scan coming out. Yeah, not retightened yet. This one's still trying. It's not quite organized yet either. It's going to be approaching the I-29 area just to the south of Worthing. All right, here comes the new radar scan. That southern one a little bit tighter in the latest scan. This one stayed about the same. Still kind of watching that area there. Is it? Let me see. Oh, it does look like it dropped a couple frames. Is that better? Okay. I clicked a couple settings, so that hopefully is better. Yeah, that's weird. A couple frame drops. Internet shows good, so we should be okay. Might be a YouTube thing. I'll keep an eye on it. Thanks, Cruz. If it gets really bad, then I can always restart the stream. But that would require kind of restarting the actual stream. So hopefully it can just kind of shake itself out. Yeah, this area here has gotten tighter and a little bit more organized. Also, quite a bit of wind, seeing on this velocity scan, 60, 65 mile an hour winds in here. So this is definitely producing damaging wind, this storm, with also up to about ping pong ball sized hail. The hail core is going to be just north of the circulation. Perfect. Yeah. Looks like it looks good on my end, but if it gets crazy, we can always reset. But yeah, your hail core is sitting up in this area in that purple color. And the tornadic circulation is just to the south of there, so pretty decently defined supercell. It's a little bit disorganized. Still seeing some cell mergers in here back towards Hooker. And so it's still not fully organized yet, but it is uptrending. So that's definitely worthy of a tornado warning there for Lincoln and Turner counties in South Dakota. And then watching more of a damaging wind risk at the moment, pushing into the Sioux Falls area, especially the areas west of I-29. That's where we have a tornado warning. It's about to expire, but we also do have a severe thunderstorm warning for those areas in southwestern Minnehaha County. And yeah, that's about to push into more of the immediate Sioux Falls metro in the next couple minutes. New radar scan coming out. We're getting pretty quick radar scans tonight too, so that's great. You can see the lightning is picked up above me on our cameras thanks to South Dakota DOT and the city of Sioux Falls taxpayers. Oop, and now it just started to buffer that camera. Probably not a stream issue. That's probably just the storm. But yeah, starting to get those damaging winds pushing into the areas west of I-29 in the Sioux Falls metro. That's going to be the areas around Ellis, Webster Grove Addition, Hayward Addition, Lillian, down towards the Country Acres area. Still a pretty defined supercell, slowly making its way towards the Sioux Falls metro. New warning for half-dollar size hail and 60-mile winds for the cell in far southern parts of South Dakota. This is for southwestern Lincoln, east central Yankton, and southeastern Turner counties. Kind of a multi-cell cluster, a couple different hail cores in there. One near Volin, and then the other to the east of there along US, or just west of I-29, State Highway 19. A lot of state highways in that area. So kind of a broken line of storms right now. They're not super organized. It's not a mesoscale convective system, but we have kind of a supercell up here, another supercell there, and then kind of a multi-cell cluster on the southern flank of that, and then as well as a couple kind of multi-cells in there. So not quite an organized system, but definitely a broken line of severe storms working into southeast South Dakota. That will likely continue the next few hours into southwestern Minnesota, and then also this is northwestern parts of Iowa. And that's why we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 1 a.m. in the central daylight time. A couple tornadoes possible, some large hail, and damaging winds up to about 70 miles an hour also possible. We have not seen any warnings in this area for considerable threat winds, but as these storms continue to work towards the east, we'll see how they kind of organize and develop maybe more into a line segment. We'll have to kind of wait and see.
A new tornado warning.
There goes the
has
tornado
been
warning
issued.
for the Sioux Falls Metro. Definitely concur with that, even though it has not reorganized yet. There still is kind of broad rotation in there near Ellis. Yep. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Ellis or near Sioux Falls, moving east at 15. Radar indicated rotation. So as we said earlier, if you're in the Sioux Falls area, now is that time to take your tornado safety precautions. Lowest level into your room, away from those doors and windows. Put walls between you and the outside. If you have that basement or the storm shelter, that's the best option. But if you don't have a basement or storm shelter, just get to that lowest level, that first floor interior room. Make sure there's no windows around. So it tends to be like a bathroom on the low level, or even a hall closet, or an interior closet that has enough space for you and your family. Those are good options as well. Still seeing kind of broad rotation around the Ellis area. The storm has cycled several times, so it has produced a couple tornadoes west of the Sioux Falls area in the last couple hours. It still doesn't look imminently tornadic at the moment, but it's tight enough, and it's had a history of producing tornadoes that it's a good warning for this area. And it's also coming into a more populated area in south central Minnehaha County. Hey, Redbird, how's it going today? Yeah, so this is getting into a much more populated area. It's basically paralleling Highway 42 into the Sioux Falls Metro. You can see with that storm, it's buffering a little bit. This camera is basically in line with that circulation. Redbird, are you the are you the Redbird that made this my alert system that I'm using right now? I think that's the same Redbird. Nice. Thank you so much. It's very quick. It as soon as I saw that the one tornado was on the ground and was calling it observed, it popped in an observed warning very fast. Okay, good. Yeah, hopefully it's not too laggy. And I would suggest if it is lagging for anyone, just maybe refresh the stream for a second. Because, yeah, hopefully it's not too laggy. We're working into a pretty populated area under tornado warnings right now. How's it going, Storm Team? I think you were in the chat yesterday as well, if I remember right. Thanks for joining again. Our other supercell in eastern South Dakota, still kind of reorganizing right now, still broad rotation. Tornado warning there continues to the east of Hooker and essentially along I-29 in areas just south of Worthing, South Dakota. This one has a little bit larger hail than the storm that's working into the Sioux Falls Metro, but still broad rotation showing up there just west of I-29. It's like County Highway 105 and just south of US Highway 18. That cell has struggled a little bit organizing a new area circulation. And then not much circulation yet on those storms in southern South Dakota. You do have to kind of watch to see if these multi-cell clusters organize into another supercell. Right now, they're not, but we'll keep an eye, mostly focused on these other two supercells closer to the Sioux Falls Metro. Oh, interesting. So yeah, maybe it's a YouTube thing because it looked like my internet was good. So it may be the YouTube thing then. Yeah, I'm liking it. I think it's been one of the fastest warning systems I've used. And I've used quite a few. Some are quite a bit glitchier than others. I'm not going to bash anyone, but yeah, some are crazy glitchy, and Redbird's is not. We're going to lose a little bit of the detail of this circulation as it works from Ellis into basically immediate Sioux Falls. But yeah, we're kind of in the cone of silence around the radar site. You can see the radar located just on the east side of the Sioux Falls Regional Airport. And if that's where the National Weather Service office is, then they're going to get some good data off of their instruments and everything at the airport. But yeah, this is just on the southwest side of the Sioux Falls Metro from the areas around Ellis, and then Highway 42 coming into basically around the fairgrounds. And then it's going to be approaching downtown Sioux Falls in just the next couple minutes. So yeah, Soupsy Daisy, I think that's how you, hopefully not butchering your username, but yeah, downtown Sioux Falls. If you have your friend, I would text her to just get to her tornado safe, his or her tornado safe. Her tornado safe space. They are in downtown Sioux Falls under this tornado warning, and that goes another 24 minutes. You still got I would go to my safe place now if I was in downtown Sioux Falls. You don't have to rush. Don't trip downstairs. Don't hit into like a door or anything. It's not crazy fast. This is not one of those storms that's moving at 70 miles an hour. It's moving at about 15. But yeah, I would kind of quickly and efficiently take your tornado safety precautions if you haven't yet in Sioux Falls. And that's basically everybody in Sioux Falls, from essentially I-90 and the airport all the way down to about the South Loop there, 229, to areas around the Sanford Medical Center, All Saints, Tut Hill, and then over into the downtown area. This camera keeps buffering, but I don't believe that's a YouTube issue. I think that is just with the storm around. Can look at some of these other cameras in the Sioux Falls area. Newest radar scan coming in here in just the next minute. So parts of Sioux Falls already getting the rain and the lightning and thunder, but that tornadic circulation is just on the west side of town still. Okay, this is pretty close to that circulation. This is I-29 at 41st Street. That gives us a decent idea of the conditions. And let me see if I can load it right. We'll see if we can get a wind direction change on this camera perspective. Awesome, thanks. Hopefully, there's so many name tags and stuff. I'm not even gonna try with Redbird. Redbird, you're just showing up really weird on my, at least on my chat there. It shows like Redbird, and then there's some dates and stuff. I don't know if you did that on purpose or if it's just showing weird. Ooh, this southern circulation is finally starting to get better organized. The RFD is kind of surging out and around here. It's wrapping up this inflow region, funneling those warm and moist inflow winds in there. And yeah, the velocity scan has come up. A lot of wind in there. But yeah, if it's going to produce a tornado, it still needs to get just a little bit tighter. As we saw in the storm earlier, sometimes we see this start to organize first on the reflectivity, starts to really kind of organize, and then in the next couple velocity scans, we see those wind profiles organize as well. So could be getting close to tornado genesis east of Hooker, probably about 3 or 4 miles, about 5 miles east of Hooker. Yeah, still radar indicated there. Looks like we're getting some new severe thunderstorm watches. We'll get those details in a few minutes. I want to check quickly on Emporia, Kansas. A new supercell has gone up south of Emporia, Kansas. Not much rotation yet, but it is starting to produce some larger hail in that ping pong to golf ball size hail range. Looks like we've also had a left split, kind of. A new cell actually just kind of went up on the north side. That is also being warned for hail and wind, but keeping an eye on this supercell going up around Emporia, Kansas. Models had not a lot of coverage, but 1 or 2 cells may go up in this region, at least initially, as an all hazards severe risk. So we'll keep an eye on that one and get the details in just a couple minutes. Centerville, South Dakota, is that going to be down? Might be a very small community. I'm guessing it's probably down in this one. Okay, yeah, that's going to be just north of Centerville, I would guess. Then, yeah, that's probably going to be this storm right here. Right there, there's the newest scan. Looks like County Highway 146, just to the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 or 7 miles northeast of Centerville. Yeah, about 5.5 miles northeast of Centerville. This is one of those areas that's a Jeffersonian grid, so each of these mile blocks is about a mile, so it's pretty easy to get some estimates really quickly. But yes, winds going away from the radar towards the radar, very tight circulation. As we kind of saw on the reflectivity picked up first, and then velocity picked up. Not seeing a CC drop on this yet, but it may just be out in some rural open country. That is a tight circulation. Thanks, Bam. Bam 6956. If you're new here, we're working on getting some chasers added to our stream, and I don't believe any of them are in South Dakota. This is a little bit of a this is outside of the risk area for today.
New information: this tornado warning has been upgraded.
Stream is healthy. It must be a YouTube thing because it says my stream is healthy. But yeah, if it gets worse after the tornado warnings, I'll do a reset. Oh, is it? I missed that, Redbird. I'd be very curious to test it out if you want to send me a DM or something. Yeah, tornado in progress. Yep, okay. It has gone observed there for southwestern Lincoln and southeastern Turner counties. Confirmed tornado near Centerville or 8 miles northwest of Beresford, east at 10. Yeah, dangerous storm there. Let's see if we can get the correlation coefficient on that. Not yet. Interesting. Oh, hey, Marjorie. How's it going? Not quite yet. You guys are a little east of there.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
Oh, yeah, you guys are not in the watch area. These are really slow-moving storms, so they're not making much eastward progress towards you in northern parts of Iowa yet. But yes, another observed tornado, and there we go. There's the CC drop on it. Right along County Highway 146. Looks like a fairly small tornado just based on the velocity scan, but it's probably a pretty punchy one. It's not a weak tornado. Small does not mean weak. But let me see if we have any storm chasers around that area. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think any of our storm chasers that we're going to be using are there, but oh yeah, it is it's not a large wedge tornado or anything. It's a fairly kind of ropey cone, I would guess. Kind of the best way to put it. It's not quite a rope, but it's not quite a cone tornado, at least on this picture that we'll repost to WXCast Live on Twitter. Oh, it just came up more. It may just be starting to develop, though. Yeah, starting to see the velocity scans really pick up there. Wait on the next scan. I would guess we might see a deeper debris signature just based on the velocity scan. Also, this multi-cell cluster seems to be organizing. Yeah, that's not good. This multi-cell cluster that went severe warned a little bit ago is also starting to organize into more of a cohesive supercell and starting to rotate. It's going to be northeast of Westerville, South Dakota. You can see here in the last couple minutes, that rotation has picked up. It's broad at the moment, but that is picking up along State Highway 19. All these are stacking up right along State Highway 19 right now. Dangerous storm. This may start to go rain-wrapped a little bit with the interference from the cell below it. Right now, at least it's a visible tornado according to storm chasers. All right, then we'll probably reset the stream. Is it bad, Cruz? How bad is it? Might have to reset the stream then. I don't really want to with the tornadoes, but if people aren't getting the information, then I might have to. Yeah, our other storm is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota right now. It's kind of in the cone of silence. A lot of wind coming into the west side of Sioux Falls. And we'll see what this rotation looks like as it gets out to the east of Sioux Falls. It's basically over downtown right now. Looks like it's around the fairgrounds and around the baseball field and approaching the historic district. Tornado warning there, continues radar indicated. There's our newest scan coming out. It must be some type of stream thing because the internet's working fine. The radar app is all working. The cameras are working okay. Yeah, I have a whole panel of cameras. So it must be something with the stream or the streaming software or YouTube. Wow, things are really coming down across the Sioux Falls metro. I wonder if we have a camera right in downtown Sioux Falls. This one, maybe? Yeah, it is definitely coming down in buckets across Sioux Falls. Continue to stay in your tornado safe space there. That is in basically the Sioux Falls metro, Minnehaha County. All right. Yeah, keep letting me know, Cruz. Thanks again. This could be a significant tornado in progress. There's not a lot of CC drop on it. Maybe a little bit of CC drop on it, but a bit of a donut hole is also starting to show up on the reflectivity. It just may not be in a very tree-filled or property-filled environment, but yeah, starting to see clear signature of a very strong tornado in progress. potentially here with some very strong gate to gate. Wouldn't be surprised if this one is producing at least a strong tornado. Yeah, that's going to be right. It's going to be rain wrap now. It looks like briefly earlier it was probably not rain wrapped right when it started, but it's getting some cell interaction. The cell to the south has kind of come up into it. And yeah, these mesocyclones are very tricky. Sometimes we get cell interactions that are constructive and actually help it rotate and help it strengthen. And then other times we get cell mergers that are not constructive and just basically completely collapse the mesocyclone. This one may have helped, at least briefly.
New information.
Yeah, they're going to go PDS on this because of the signature on this. The reflectivity shows the donut hole doesn't have a ton of debris with it, but the gate to gate, and I'm sure the V-rot is showing a pretty strong circulation that definitely meets the PDS criteria. Yeah, that's not good. Weather spotter confirmed tornado, confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado near Centerville, or 7 miles northwest of Beresford, moving east at 10 miles an hour. It is north and east of Centerville. Centerville is named in the warning, but that's just the closest, looks like, community. It is roughly about 6.5 miles east, northeast of Centerville, moving east. So Centerville, you're not in the warning. Latest scan came down just a little bit. Yeah, it's interesting. So it doesn't have much of a debris signature, but it's in here. Just along County Highway 146. It's going to be about 2 miles, 2.5 miles west of I-29. So hopefully traffic is not going on I-29. This could be a dangerous situation if you're traveling on I-29 and you get into a rain wrap tornado. Wow. Other than the tornado, this whole storm has some really damaging winds in it. Yeah, potentially 60, 70 mile an hour winds in that. And also, let me check. I was being warned earlier for ping pong ball size hail. I believe it still is being warned for that, but let me just double check. Yeah, ping pong ball size hail as well. Dangerous storm in eastern South Dakota. Norway Center, you need to be in your tornado safe space. You're right on the edge of the warning polygon. And anywhere, if you're north and west of Norway Center, between Norway Center and Centerville, you need to be in your tornado safe space along I-29. This is in southern South Dakota, south of Sioux Falls. And also seeing circulation pick up on the southern cell of these kind of 3 supercells now. It's going to be just to the north and east of Westerville, approaching I-29 as well. Yeah, hopefully there's not a giant city out here, but there's some small rural farming communities and also a major travel corridor, I-29. And right now it's actually kind of stacked up with supercells. This is a PDS observed and extremely dangerous tornado. Has maybe backed off just a little bit on the latest velocity scan, but still likely producing a damaging to destructive tornado just west of I-29. And then we still have a tornado warning for the Sioux Falls area. This storm is in the cone of silence right around the radar site, so we're not getting great data on that. The good news is that storm is still radar indicated. It's in a populated area, and it's real close to this National Weather Service office, so if it went confirmed, we would know about it pretty quickly. We'll get better data as it gets onto the east side of Sioux Falls. But yeah, last I kind of saw, this would be a circulation that would be basically just over downtown Sioux Falls right now. So yeah, right now we have 3 dangerous supercells in southeast South Dakota. The one is producing a damaging tornado at the moment. We'll call this one B. A is a radar indicated tornado warning around the Sioux Falls area. And then I'm increasingly concerned about C. C is starting to spin a little bit tighter on every scan, getting much better organized. It was a multi-cell cluster. It's now more of a distinct supercell. So we have 3 distinct supercells kind of in a broken line across southeast South Dakota. They're all capable of producing tornadoes in a fairly short time frame, especially the one, obviously, that's producing a damaging tornado at the moment. And they're all roughly in the I-29 corridor. I would not recommend anyone travels south of Sioux Falls on I-29 right now. Let these storms pass, especially south of Sioux Falls. This is a dangerous situation as storms potentially producing tornadoes are about to cross the interstate there. This one is starting to tighten up very quickly around Hub City, Hillside, and Emmett. I would start to get to my tornado safe space. Scared me for a second, but that's clear air contamination on the correlation coefficient. But this one's starting to come up. The circulation actually would just be south of that clear air contamination. Yeah, clear air. But that is starting to have a pretty cohesive hook. Wouldn't be surprised if that gets a new tornado warning out towards areas around Emmett and Alcester. Our other PDS tornado still looks like it's in here, just west of I-29. Should get new radar data in just a minute. Has weakened some as it's approaching the I-29 corridor. It was very strong just a few minutes ago. Looks like it may have peaked there around Highway 146, just about 2 miles west of I-29. Small community of Bearsford. If you're north of Bearsford, you need to be in your tornado safe space for sure. Hey, Marjorie, no problem. Sioux Falls looks like still radar indicated tornado warning, but Sioux Falls may have lucked out. We'll see what they want to do with reissuing a new warning here, but they have not issued a new tornado warning to the east yet. We're just a little bit in the cone of silence there for that circulation. This was earlier. That circulation was kind of broad still as it approached Ellis. And it's still maybe in here on the northeast side. It's right over basically the radar site, so we're not getting great data on that one. As far as cameras, though, this is a camera in Sioux Falls, 12th and Marion. Yeah, they're going to issue a new warning for that southern cell.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
Other than a strong storm and some buffering on the cameras just because they're over a strong storm, I haven't seen any like damage or destruction or anything in Sioux Falls. So I think Sioux Falls is lucking out right now, but cautiously optimistic of that. Actually, I haven't even seen a lot of wind on the Sioux Falls cameras. So we'll see. If you're in Sioux Falls, though, you still need to be in your tornado safe space. This one looks like it is tightening up near Hub City. It's approaching areas around Hillside and I-29 as well. And they have issued that new warning there for Greenfield, Emmett, all the way down to Nora and Spink. A little bit wide of a warning, but we'll work with that. That's for East Central Clay and Northwestern Union counties in South Dakota. And basically areas there west of Big Springs, South Dakota. Yeah, that has tightened up really quickly. This one looks like it has weakened and broadened. A new area of circulation trying to develop just west of I-29. We may have lucked out. That was a strong tornado for a brief period there, and it may have weakened before it crossed I-29. That one may have gotten lucky there. And they have let the tornado warning expire across the Sioux Falls metro with, at least at the moment, not a new warning. So Sioux Falls, if you're in your tornado safe space, maybe just stay there for a few minutes, let this storm pass. Otherwise, Sioux Falls may have lucked out. We'll kind of still keep an eye on this, see if it tries to organize a new circulation to the east of Sioux Falls, though. Oh, good. I was just about to shout out crews. It says my stream health is good. Is it good in the chat? Is the stream health pretty good? Is it hopefully not too glitchy? If it is, we'll reset. Yeah, new tornado potentially here, pretty close to touching down between Hub City and Hillside. Approaching areas around Emmett and Nora. And again, that's going to be just west of I-29 as well. And then this storm is also cycling new circulation showing there just south of 146, just west of I-29. That's going to be about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 8 to 10 miles to the west of Norway Center. Yeah, about 9.5 miles west of Norway Center. So Norway Center, you still need to be in your safe space there, and also just north of Beresford, and probably not saying it right, but if you're just north of there, I would also be in my tornado safe space. Okay, good. I still may do a reset on it later after these storms hopefully die down. They're approaching the river valley there. Let's see. 904. They still have a PDS observed tornado. I don't believe it's on the ground anymore, just based on the reflectivity and also the velocity scans. Looks like that first tornado may have diminished, but still seeing circulation in here. And interesting, that strong tornado had very little debris the whole time. May have it a little bit back here along 146, but for a strong tornado with a strong gate-to-gate shear and strong VROT, it did not have a large debris signature. So hopefully it's just I'm hoping it's just been out in kind of rural countryside. And that's kind of the only show in town across this Missouri Valley area. There's a few more storms in northern South Dakota. Let's take a peek down here since we've covered those tornado warning storms pretty closely there. And we have no tornado warning right now in the Sioux Falls metro. So without the big city being covered with a tornado warning, we'll get to some of the southern area. This is actually in the slight risk for severe weather today. This is one of the main reasons we had the stream, is getting ready for this area. Severe thunderstorm watch is going. It's going to be a late night one. 4 a.m. This is a severe thunderstorm watch. You can see it's still kind of populating on the radar, but it is a watch that goes until 4 a.m. It covers Emporia, Ottawa, Topeka, Kansas City, down through Garnett and Paola, Ottawa, I think I mentioned, and up to areas around Lawrence, Kansas, and then into the Missouri side, Kansas City, Missouri, Harrisonville, down through Rich Hill, and Nevada, Missouri. It also pushes east to Boonville, Missouri, Sedalia, Village of Four Seasons. That's around the Lake of the Ozarks. We're getting into the summer months, so that's a more populated area with a lot of tourists, a lot of lakeside homes and things. So that also is in this watch area, and then also down towards Lebanon, Missouri. A couple of tornadoes are possible. Scattered hail up to tennis ball size, likely, and scattered wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour, possible. And right now, it's fairly quiet in these areas. So if you're out on the town in Kansas City, there's a couple showers around. Not much going on in the Kansas City area. Right now, we're watching storms in eastern Kansas around Emporia. We have two supercells. One is a left split, producing some hail and gusty winds that's headed up along 335 north sides of Emporia. The other cell is the initial supercell near Old Bay. Not seeing tight circulation on it yet, but this is starting to produce a little bit of a hook feature. It is a supercell. It's a rotating thunderstorm producing up to lime-sized hail that has been observed. So that is a dangerous storm. It's going to stay south of Emporia, Kansas. But as it gets out along the I-35 corridor, we'll get a better visual of this storm with cameras along I-35. But a dangerous storm there. That is in, let me get the county name for you. Southwestern Lyon County. Similar to our storms in South Dakota, these storms are only moving at about 15 miles an hour. But they should increase in speed as they continue to upscale. And eventually, these storms in eastern Kansas by tomorrow morning that will form a cluster of storms and make it all the way into eastern and southeastern Missouri by tomorrow morning, 6, 7, 8 a.m. They're going to be in the Mississippi River Valley, potentially as a damaging wind risk, as a mesoscale convective system that'll work through the Mississippi Valley by early morning and into the afternoon tomorrow. And that's kind of what's going on. We've had a couple severe storms in western Texas. Those are downtrending over the last hour or so, but still some hail producing storms there, gusts to 60 in the Texas Panhandle. One other storm there north of Childress, Texas. We've lost our storms in western Oklahoma, so it looks like things are calm in Oklahoma along the dry line. So the big severe risk for tonight is going to be in this area, eastern Kansas, western Missouri, into central Missouri, and then also for now in areas into southeast South Dakota. Yeah, we'll see. After these storms die down a little bit, I'll get a new model run and we'll take a look at the latest model data. Because of those models, I don't know, the models have not had, I think, a great handle at the storms that are going to form in eastern Kansas. So now that storms are forming, we'll see if the models have a better sense of things. Looks like this storm is still outflow driven across the Sioux Falls metro. So still a strong storm, but not severe at the moment. Yeah, it definitely looks less tornadic as we're starting to see it as it comes out of the cone of silence near the radar site. Still warned here, PDS tornado. I don't believe it's on the ground still, but continue to stay in your tornado safe space because this area could easily recycle. We'll see if it attempts it or recycle. And then radar indicated tornado warning continues in southern South Dakota. That one probably was very close to briefly producing a tornado a few minutes ago. That one has broadened back out a little bit. But a dangerous supercell there. Yeah, that's going to be approaching areas around Hillside and Nora and Emmett. About to cross I-29. And again, if you know anyone in Sioux Falls, I would recommend not traveling south on I-29 right now. You have the storm that's over Sioux Falls, not severe, but you have two dangerous supercells that are over I-29 in southern South Dakota. And both easily capable of producing tornadoes as well as large hail, damaging winds. And those are pushing about 50,000 feet. So pretty good storm strength indication. And holding their own, too. Load a new HRRR and see what the model data has for this new area. Yeah, the models have been struggling, and I took a look earlier this morning at a bunch of different models, and they all had slightly different outcomes. They've all struggled at things. This is the latest HRRR run, and it's kind of missing the storms that are formed right now. But this still wants to break out new storms across eastern Kansas, western Missouri in the next hour or two. See if any get any strong push across the Kansas City area. You may still get a couple rounds of storms across KC. This model wants to push a stronger storm west sides of KC in the next couple hours, and kind of another cluster of storms. And more storms kind of into central Missouri. 6 a.m. pushing into eastern parts of Missouri. And then 7 a.m. now more of a cohesive line. Farmington, St. Genevieve, back through Lebanon. And then, yeah, we'll have to watch that one tomorrow as it goes through the Mississippi River Valley. So, yeah, this model still wants to put a couple rounds of storms across the Kansas City area. But as every model has done so far in the last, I don't know, for most of the day, it keeps pushing the development back another hour and another hour. So it still isn't grabbing the sense of the storms that we have ongoing across the Emporia area. If the models are correct, first round of storms are across Kansas City, maybe 10 to midnight. And then round 2, that kind of 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. kind of time frame. But we'll see. The models, again, they haven't been great at that data. The other model, the NAM model, pushes kind of one round across the Kansas City area.
A new flash flood warning has been issued.
2 to 4 a.m. It takes the storms that are developing across Emporia more into southern parts of Kansas. I don't know if they're gonna dive south like that, but I put that storm around Emporia probably south of Kansas City later. But at least it has kind of storms developing there in the right spot. The NAM model still also pushes storms back through the Mississippi River Valley by tomorrow morning. So this is a little bit more of the models are in a little more agreement that whatever kind of develops overnight, eastern Kansas, western Missouri, is eventually going to go to areas like St. Genevieve, Farmington, Poplar Bluff, Paducah, Kentucky. The models are just kind of all over the place on where storms form and when they form. Some models have storms kind of forming here, others have it here, others have it kind of over here, others have it like right in the middle. So it's just kind of a question mark on where these storms actually form and when, because it keeps pushing back the development time. I hate to even take a peek at this. This model is the RRFS model. It's technically still experimental, but it's going to be in full swing, I believe, in the fall. The Rufus model, the RRFS model, tends to print out supercells. Yeah, like this. the RFS model, it tends to overproduce supercells. It can sometimes get location of development decently correct, so So take it what it's worth. It may not be as supercellular as this model shows, but it may be getting some of the placement correct. Storms developing just east of the I-35 corridor in eastern Kansas, kind of expanding to the north and east, getting up into the Kansas City area, maybe kind of hinting at more of a bit of a cluster of storms rather than discrete supercells. This would be about 11 to midnight. Yeah, about 1 a.m. And then, yeah, again, the Rufus model keeps it all as like more supercells, but this would probably be more of a cluster at this point, pushing into central Missouri around 3 a.m. And then still kind of hints at a more cohesive cluster of storms by 7, Farmington, Centerville, Eminence, down towards Poplar Bluff. So we'll see. The Rufus model actually might have a winner tonight. But just, yeah, the Rufus model tends to overprint supercells. We could get 1 or 2, but I don't think, I don't think we're gonna get anything like this. This would be a little bit overdone, I think. All right, let's get back to stones. Let me switch over to the live data. And we'll get back to live radar. All right, while we're down here, still seeing these 2 cells. One has lime-sized hail near Olpe. The other ping pong to golf ball size hail north of Emporia. The one is a supercell, has some broad rotation on it. It's actually kind of weakened in the last couple minutes, so that's interesting. The other is a left split. It also has a little bit of a hook feature, but mostly a hail-producing left split. I would guess they'll probably put a new warning out towards Barclay and Burlingame and Wilmington, Kansas, basically along the 335 corridor. Keep an eye on those storms. Looks like both of those storms have kind of missed Emporia, one going to the south and one kind of forming just to the north of Emporia. Like another little cell just in the areas around Belton, but that cell is still behaving itself. Not a severe risk across Kansas City at the moment. There's one other storm that's been kind of annoying across the Omaha area. It's not severe, but a lot of lightning. Definitely, if you have outdoor plans here this evening, just keep an eye on that one in the Omaha metro. And then, let's see, these cells. Still a weakening cell across the Sioux Falls metro. Some gusty winds in that one. Pushing about into Iowa near Schindler. Our other storm does not look tornadic at the moment, as it's still kind of hanging out along the I-29 corridor. And our third cell, yeah, that other cell is still staying broad rotation as it's crossed I-29. The other cell is right over I-29 near Hillside. And it doesn't look quite as impressive as it did a few minutes ago, but continue to take your tornado safety precautions there. Hillside, Nora, and Emmett. Both of those are still 2 dangerous supercells. All right, I think what we'll do is the stream still might have some buffering issues. Let me see what we just got here. Okay, just a new extended warning there for the supercell down the bay. Olpe. We have our 2 tornado warnings. I think what I'll do is I'll pause the stream. We'll reset. So if you're new here, like and subscribe, click the bell icon, get notified when we go live. I'll reset the stream, reset the streaming software, reset YouTube, and then we'll come back on, cover the continued tornado warnings in southern parts of South Dakota, and continue to see if we get development across the Kansas and Missouri areas. Yeah, I'd rather just kind of pause now while we have a little bit of break in the action. And it looks like these 2 supercells, although they could produce a tornado at any minute, they're this one is probably closer to producing around Hillside. It's probably going to be a couple radar scans to get new tornadoes anyway. So I'll take the 5 minutes and kind of reset. I think that's the plan. Thanks everyone for joining us here on part 1, and we'll continue severe weather coverage for this evening in part 2 in the next couple minutes.